If you travel by boat without a visa, you will not make Australia home. The rules apply to everyone: families, children, unaccompanied children, educated and skilled. There are no exceptions.
Since 1992, the Australian government has not changed its inhumane immigration detention policies. Our government has chosen only two options to rid itself of caring for refugees: illegally sending refugees back to countries where they may be in serious danger, or illegally locking them up in indefinite detention, which has been detrimental to the physical and mental health of refugees. Both options are against international law, and as long as the Australian public remains silent, this will not change. If you travel by boat to Australia, the government will not treat you with dignity or uphold your human rights. Once indefinitely detained in immigration detention, refugees will be at higher risk of developing or exacerbating post-traumatic stress disorder. There are no exceptions. Do not believe the lies of our government that by offering temporary protection, the Australian government is helping refugees. It is well documented that for refugees who experience PTSD, temporary protection visas are more than twice as likely to exacerbate mental health issues than those with permanent visas. Under our current government, there is no guarantee that refugees will obtain permanent protection. It is not a matter of whether refugees will suffer from poor mental health, but how severe their mental health issues will be.
PTSD is characterised by exposure to a traumatic event. It can involve the reliving of trauma, constant vigilance, and frequent avoidance of things related to the trauma. PTSD can be exacerbated or induced by the extremely stressful detention environment. Some findings indicate that 60% of adults in detention display symptoms in comparison to only 10 to 20% of the Australian public. In adults, PTSD is known to cause high levels of anxiety, social withdrawal, and flashbacks. The protracted imprisonment, social isolation, and prolonged experiences of uncertainty are key determinants of PTSD. PTSD also leads to more destructive outcomes such as self-harm, suicide, starvation, and aggressive behaviour.
We do not expect any extraordinary treatment of refugees on the government's behalf. We simply ask that refugees be treated as human beings. You can make this happen by calling on the government to permanently close all offshore detention centres and process all refugees in Australian communities. Refugees who come to our shores should be looked after by our government, so we know what quality of care is being given. You can request this by writing a letter to your local MP or creating or signing petitions which aim to do this. The Australian public should also advocate for the government to 1. Provide more permanent visas instead of temporary visas, 2. Provide access to adequate medical and mental health services, and 3. Increase the pace of refugee processing. Treating human beings like human beings, is that too much to ask?